37 years ago was the first time I walked the halls of the state capitol. I was with the legal department of the United Farmworkers Union, and we were advocating for the passage of the first law in the country to provide protection for farm workers to have collective bargaining rights. In the Wagner Act in 1937, farm workers and domestic workers were excluded from coverage under the National Labor Relations Act. They are still excluded from the protections of the National Labor Relations Act. California carved out the first right for farm workers to organize and to negotiate collective bargaining agreements. And Mr. Berryhill is right. In 1974 and 1975, the philosophy of Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta and the union was to achieve secret ballot election protection for farm workers. So what's changed? And why is our gallery full of brothers and sisters from the farm workers movement who have been convinced through their own efforts and experience that that secret ballot process has been abridged and it's been violated? And it's been violated because the current rules of the game, once a petition for election is filed, it sets in motion a wave of disparate power. The power of the labor contractor, the power of some growers to maximize threat, intimidation, closed company meetings, and dissuading workers from, even in the privacy of that secret ballot, casting a ballot for union representation. So that by the time now we get to election day, the election's already been determined because of that disparate power. So the reform recognized and identified by the elected representatives of farm workers, the United Farmworkers Union, is that we need to amend this law to level the playing field, to allow workers in the privacy of their homes, of their labor camps, to sign a card authorizing union representation, and then for a very systematic process for those signatures to be verified by the Agricultural Labor Relations Board, for the employer to have a mechanism to object or challenge the legitimacy of those signatures, in fact, to interview workers to verify that they knowingly, willingly signed that card. This is an effort to level the playing field, to avoid the abuses decried by some of our colleagues who stand in opposition to this bill, to say they oppose it because they care about farm worker rights. Well, when I look to an authority on farm worker rights, I look to farm workers. And farm workers are standing here today, here at their own expense, many missing a day of work, asking us to give them the tools to end the exploitation of unscrupulous labor contractors who intimidate, bend the rules, and violate the rights. Members, the legacy of Cesar Chavez is embedded in this legislation. I ask for your aye vote.